So with you, at what point in your journey did you actually move to like an office or get your first person?
Well, I was very, very lucky, I have to say, because my husband was renting an office at the time and he wanted to expand. So he wanted to recruit another person. And I was getting a bit sick of at 1 o'clock in the morning still being in my box room because I felt if I kept working in there, jobs would just leap out for me because it was very nerve wracking that first, probably if I'm honest, 6 months where I just thought if I keep working, something will happen. I don't know how I thought it was going to happen, but it did. Um, so he was looking for somewhere bigger. So we were going to look for somewhere that I could just slot in a corner somewhere. And once we started looking on the rental market, we actually realised it was quite expensive and we could probably invest in buying somewhere, which is where we bought our unit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was lucky in one sense. Within 6 months of starting my business, we had the unit, which had already office space available, and we just separated it and we just moved in. And then I was able to bring on an apprentice to help me with the things that I'm not so good at. And that's when the journey began and we started to grow.
Because I've been going through this in my head as well. Is that I always talk about how, depending on what type of business you want to build. So you mentioned before about how when you're at Petroplus, see, this proves that I actually listen. You're saying that you worked 4 days. Not everyone does. You see so many interviews where it's scripted questions and stuff. Actually, this is the fun bit for me. But actually, so you were working 4 days a week, more time with your daughter, but almost you could have the life that you wanted. It's to build the model that does everything you want it to do, and you add value and give knowledge and do whatever, that kind of thing. But actually, at a certain point, I might choose to retire on a beach in Cyprus or whatever. Yeah. I'll probably never actually go the staff route, just because that's not the castle I'm trying to build. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
But I always massively appreciate, because one of the big things that I was in any company turnaround, the first thing I look at is your cost, your overhead. And again, as soon as you commit to premises or staff or even borrowing or whatever, it's that axe over your head every month that grows. And then, it's some other kind of former companies, we always used to call it's like feeding the beast. So the bigger the beast gets, the harder it is to feed just to stand still. But because of that, I always kind of, embrace and celebrate people that, aren't afraid to kind of make that kind of step. And then, so how big is the company? Where are you kind of at now?
So we've got 5 employees at the moment. We were recruiting when this hit. So we're now picking that back up. We're going to be looking for a HR advisor, stroke administrator now. I don't ever want the team to be bigger than 12. I'm very much like you say, when you employ people, you've got a responsibility, you've got an obligation. I feel that their mortgages and their families are on my head. If I can't pay them, then I shouldn't be employing them. So I've got to be honest, I've had a rule of thumb after year one that if I didn't have a minimum of 3 months' salary in the bank at any one time, then I had a problem and I had to resolve it. And I've made the mistakes. I did a lot of consultancy in the first year. I just thought that was the quick wins. And I was working for other companies, going on site, doing their work and leaving the team. And it was like, we need more resource. We need telesales. We need a sales development person. I was employing all these people and I was working, paid for them. And when I sat down and did a bit of realization, actually the business wasn't earning enough to be paying these people other than my consultancy. So I was kind of working for nothing, really. I was like, this is madness. So I had a big lesson to learn, even though I'm in HR, it doesn't mean that we don't always get it right. It took me a year to get the business to break even at that point. And that's why now I'm very careful about consultancy, because it's so easy to follow the cash and lose your focus.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. But just I thought it'd be an interesting story to share, just because, different people have different business models. And it's, some businesses need to reach a certain point. And one of the kind of sweet spots, I was approached about a company turnaround in Scotland last week. One of my questions is always kind of, where are they at the moment? And the dream is companies that are they're breaking even, but they're not making any money, because actually you can make a really big difference quickly. Is where some kind of startups where you have to create the structures from scratch and put things in place and management, it takes a long time to build before you can demonstrate obvious value. As in certain companies, you can from day one just kind of go in.